Hi, welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Bachynski. Today I have with me the fantastic, the amazing Facebook guru, Steve Fantasia. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, everybody. I love the guru.
He loves to guru.
Love to guru.
Don't know really what that means. Oh, I should mute something probably. Here we go. So there I am. So today we have Steve on the show. Steve is going to be talking about some Black Hat Facebook stuff. Steve, you're saying recently that you've recently become mostly a Black Hat as a Facebook guy. Can you very quickly explain what you mean?
I'm officially, I think I'm going to change this poster back here from Robert Redford and Jeremiah Johnson to Scarface, because now I officially gone to the dark side. I have more reoccurring revenue off of Black Hat than off of White Hat. Who would have thought it? But White Hat's really, I mean, Black Hat's really taken off in terms of affiliate marketing, banned products that Facebook doesn't like. There's all sorts of workarounds, so that's starting to become the mainstay.
Interesting. So that's super interesting because, of course, Facebook is a huge gold mine of traffic.
Yeah.
And for many years, it's been like you can't do any kind of naughty affiliate marketing there. You know, no sex stuff, no pill stuff.
It's like the Mayflower. It's basically you got to ride the Mayflower.
It's like the Puritans, but you've infiltrated the Puritans. You found a way to insert your nasty, dirty affiliate stuff into the Puritans.
Yep, there's a lot of workarounds. I mean, one of them, maybe one of the things that I was telling you is I've been on there a few times. But if you just to drop a little thing, Facebook doesn't allow you to do any kind of payday loans, short-term loans, anything like that. But if you're doing affiliates for that and you just don't call it a payday loan. Look at that. That's one little workaround. So don't put payday loan in your ad.
Right. Yes. Okay. So Steve is going to be getting to all that a little bit later. Steve, you have a presentation to talk about kind of your new courses coming up and a lot of stuff that you're doing. Very exciting. And so that'll be fantastic. The reason why you might be wondering where Chase is, my co-host and other people, I'm not sure where Chase is. I don't know. He's a millennial, so he just comes and goes as he pleases. Time does not exist for Chase, living in either California or being a millennial or one or the other. I'm not really sure. But SMX Advanced is also going on right now, and Clint and Dory and Kyle and Ted are all at SMX Advanced trying to tell people about their good stuff, both the SIA test group, the Search Intelligence Agency, which has some recent experiments that have come up recently, which I can share with you, my viewers. And that I'm also going to try and confirm with my own personal testing that I do. I'll get to that in a second. Very exciting stuff there. And also Ted, of course, his software, Cora, which is a correlation SEO software, which you can put in any keyword like red apples, buy red apples. It'll show you who's ranking for buy red apples, and you run a report, and I'll show you all the stuff that's correlating with ranking on page 1 versus what's ranking on page 20. And it'll show you what they're doing and what they're not doing. And so it's a gold mine of information as well. And so Ted is at SMX Advanced trying to show the white hats, the SMX white hats, hey guys, here's how to do SEO, because he knows that they need all that help. So so they're not here today. So it's so we're gonna have an open chat here. So I'm gonna have another SEO clinic today. So if anybody wants to jump into the chat, I'm gonna put the URL in. If you want to jump onto the Hangout, I'm gonna put the URL in the chat. I'll put it here. Feel free if you have any SEO questions or something that you want to ask. Don't just jump on and just sit here. If you have something you want to ask, you want to talk about, by all means, jump onto the show and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Steve can answer any Facebook questions and I can answer any SEO questions live on air. Also, if you have any SEO questions, if you're watching this on YouTube, the live chat's on the top right-hand side. And by all means, just put a 3 asterisks beside your SEO questions to make sure I can see it. And that way, you can also ask your questions that way. You don't have to actually join the chat. So with that being said, and someone's already joined. And he's got a cool picture, actually. That's fantastic. So thanks, Michael, for joining. So Michael, I'll get to your questions in a second, and I'll get to your guys' questions in a second in the chat there. The first section the first segment though of the show we're going to go to is what's new in Black Hat SEO and what's new in White Hat SEO. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's new in White Hat SEO right now. A lot of leaks are coming out because, as I said, SMX Advanced is going on right now in Seattle, and that is kind of like the White Hat conference that Google goes to, and Google often spills a lot of information at these kind of conferences. So it just so happens that I have my spies at SMX, and they've been telling me what's going on. Maybe some of the people I just mentioned are some of my spies too. And they've been telling me the stuff that's been coming out of SMX Advanced, so I'd like to share it with you right now. So a number of things, very interesting. The first one is that Gary Ilyish, who is a Webmaster Trends analyst in the Zurich office at Google, who I've mentioned many times, and you should know, he's a PR guy for Google. But he also works with the development team, so he's not just strictly a PR guy. He actually has some idea how the algorithms work. And he mentioned that if you were hit by the Fred update, so for people in SEO, you're going to recognize this. It's the Fred update. It came out, I believe, in May. And maybe even there was another iteration of it a little bit later, May 4th or 5th, if I recall correctly. He said, if you're hit by that, you need to read our quality guidelines. So whenever, that's what I said. That's what he said. If you're hit by the Fred update, this is what he said at SMX Advanced. If you're hit by the Fred update, you need to read our quality guidelines. Well, whenever they say you need to read the quality guidelines, that means, hey, you've been hit by our quality algorithms, right? So Fred is just another name for Panda, right? Panda is their main quality algorithm. Panda is now a rolling algorithm. It runs automatically. It's an artificial intelligence. It automatically reads your site, looks at your site, looks at the users coming to your site, determines a quality score, and you're going to go up or down based on the quality that it determines. So Fred is just Panda. That's the first leak from SMX. This is a really interesting leak from the local guys, the local SEO guys at SMX. They're saying that they're speculating, and they have a little bit of data, some anecdotal data. They don't do single variable tests like we do on this Hangout and in other groups that I'm with. But they're saying now that Google is tracking the traffic of people going to your site, going to your shop, your actual local store, by their GPS or by your Wi-Fi. And this is how they determine two things. One, they say that this is how they determine what time your store is busy or not, like the busy hours are this time, the busy hours are at this time. But they say this is also now being used as a ranking signal. So this is an interesting hypothesis. It's a hypothesis only because these people can't prove it, right? They're not Google, and we would need to test it to prove it. But it's an interesting hypothesis, and one that I could fully see Google using. So again, to repeat, Google uses the amount of people in your store, in your actual physical location, by tracking your Wi-Fi, and there's phones trying to connect to it, or their phone GPS going to your location. And your phone will say, hey, you're at Starbucks. Do you want to make a review? They know where you are. They're following you. They're tracking you guys, in case you didn't know. So is Facebook, by the way. And Steve knows very well. And that's entirely possible. And then these guys have hypothesized they're using that as a ranking signal because they can tell if people are actually coming to your store and if people are liking it. And the last, there's two more SMX leaks. The one we've heard before, and that's just a reminder that Gary Ilyish was asked, well, what about like if people are buying links on Forbes or people are buying like really expensive links? Now, I happen to know how much the links on Forbes cost. They're around $4,000, $5,000, or like TechCrunch or stuff like that. They're pretty expensive. And Gary Ilyish said, we have no problem determining if A, those are paid links, and two, they're totally worthless. So there's not worth spending that much money getting them. So that's kind of an interesting insight. That's kind of a scary insight. Quite frankly, a lot of people, even in the white hat world, it's still kind of relied on the fact that if you needed to rank a site in a big SEO niche, well, you're going to have some link juice. And how do you get the link juice? Well, you want a newspaper to review you. You want a big magazine to review you. That's how you get the big link juice, right? But now Google is saying, and they've always said, but it was always still kind of an unwritten rule, yeah, buy those links. That was still industry standard practice. Now Google is specifically saying, no, even the big links from Forbes or whatnot, we can see those links and we can easily tell if they're paid. So true, not true, I don't know. We need to test this. I'm thinking of it's an expensive test because it costs, like I said, $4,000, $5,000 for a link from these sites. But I'm thinking I might test this coming up because Josh has got your back. Yeah, I make it sound like it's like a public service, because Josh needs to buy one for a client, and so he's going to test it. But I will also tell you guys if it works or not.
Set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I'll set up an Indiegogo. I'm testing to see if Forbes links still work. I need to raise $10,000 because the links are bloody expensive. So anyway, so just dropping the SEO knowledge for you guys. And so it'll be interesting to see if Google can actually track that and how they would track it.
If you spent $3,000 on that, you put that link, what would that one link rank your site?
Oh, I'm detecting the Facebook guy is about to give me a tongue lashing.
That's a lot of money to spend in terms of ranking.
Yes. No, you've got a point. So let's just digress and talk about that for a second, because I know exactly what you're going to say. So yeah, so on Forbes specifically, or a big magazine like that, or like, say, I don't know, the Washington Herald or the Chicago Tribune or whatever. Say you got a link on that, you would get eyeballs on it too. You would get clicks through it as well, hopefully, maybe a couple hundred clicks. So would that rank your site alone? It could be enough. That could be enough link juice, depending on your niche, to rank your site alone. But if you're in a really competitive niche, that wouldn't be enough. You'd need maybe 3 or 4 of those kinds of links, and maybe 10 or 20 lesser kind of $1,000 links. So that's a lot of money, but conceivably, once you do it, so this is now the argument against SEO versus Facebook.
Right.
Once you do it, conceivably your ranking, assuming that it works, assuming Google doesn't nab you, and you also got really good actual exposure from those links too. But let's say it takes $15,000 in a very competitive niche. What could $15,000 do for Facebook? That's only like 3 months of Facebook ads, really. It's a really competitive niche.
What's competitive, like life insurance?
Yeah, sure. For example.
So $15,000, you can get life insurance. I just did a thing on that. I think I'm getting like 40-cent clicks off life insurance. So 15,000 divided by 40, 37. I mean, you could get quite a bit for that. You can get a lot of clicks.
You definitely could. Of course, we'd have to talk about total cost of ownership, because I'm talking TCO on this side.
Yeah, it's not a single purchase. It's a long-term plan. Yep.
Yeah, including having an expert, a guru such as Steve, managing it for you.
Yeah, somebody as good looking as me, it costs a lot.
That's right. Of course, if you didn't have a guru as good as Steve managing it for you, it wouldn't be 40 cents a click.
Well, yeah, you'd have to do AdWords or something.
It would be much higher, right? Even if you stayed on Facebook, this guy's really good at getting your cost per click down, because he knows all the tricks and secrets. So even if you wanted to do it yourself, just dump $15,000 into Facebook and have no idea what you're doing.
Boost your posts. Do that.
Yeah, he's being sarcastic, folks. Do not boost your posts. That is, if you didn't know, that was sarcasm from this guy down here, wherever he is on your screen. Yeah, but if you didn't know what you were doing and you just dumped $15,000 into Facebook, I don't know if you get the same results if you spent $15,000 getting links. Again, we're talking about the big boys and the big gals playing in the big niches, right? We're talking about big money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and finally, the last thing coming out of SMX is about the mobile first index. Some people were wondering why in my 2017 SEO video I didn't mention the mobile first index. Well, that's because I was pretty sure it wasn't coming out in 2017, and it seems like maybe I might have been right on that guess, because Gary Illyes is now saying that it's most likely that the mobile first index is not going to come out until 2018, and it's not going to be as big a deal as maybe John Mueller has been trying to prepare us for. He says that they're going to smear, that's the word they've been using, smear desktop signals. So your mobile site is now going to get a smeared kind of desktop signals, and they're going to kind of amalgamate them apparently in some kind of way, shape, or form. So that's still coming out. I would still make sure you have a good mobile site and a good desktop site. I would go responsive personally, unless you want to go AMP. There's a lot to talk about there, which we could talk about, but I'll let you guys ask questions. So just a reminder for you folks who are coming and typing in questions in the chat, if you want to make sure I see them, please put 3 asterisks in front of them so I know it's a question for us. And then we can definitely answer, we can definitely get to that. But before I get to that, now I want to go back to Steve, and I want to talk about Steve's Facebook stuff. Steve, you have some really interesting, you say you're now doing Black Hat Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. And I want you to talk to us a little bit about what that means and the special offer you have for us. So Steve, please take it away.
Yeah, cool. So Black Hat on Facebook is anything that violates basically Facebook's ad terms, which are anything sexual, adult toys, affiliate marketing, a lot of that stuff. They actually don't want you to do affiliate marketing at all. So if you send your traffic to a landing site, that officially violates Facebook's terms and agreements. There's definitely ways around that. So you can start getting used to that traffic or taking advantage of it. So what I did is I dumped in the I'm looking at it right now. In the description, I dumped a little preview. I have a course coming out that's going to take you from nothing to awesomeness with me, your host, Awesomeness. Just kidding. But anyway, and I put that in there as a kind of
nothing
a sample.
to awesomeness.
Yeah, it's something. It's just a little snippet. Like Facebook won't allow you to combine 2 audiences that you make. So I showed you how to do it. So I put that in there, and I'm also what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away 1 or actually 2 30-minute free consults to anybody who's watching the show right now. I'm going to draw from somebody. It looks like there's a few people watching, a lot of people. So if you send me an email at steve@brightsourcemedia.com, and your name, email, and what you're doing, what you do. At the end of today, I'll take a drawing and I'll give away a 30-minute consult. And then anybody who's watching this up until June, let's say 16th or so, which is this Friday, send me the email, steve@brightsourcemedia.com again, and I will do that same thing, give away a 30-minute consult to Josh's viewers just for being so hipster trendy.
Wow. Thanks, Steve. So once again, you can email Steve at steve@brightsourcemedia.com, right?
Yep.
And he's got 2 free 30-minute consults. His Facebook knowledge is really good, guys, and how to squeeze the blood from the stone from Facebook ads. It's an untapped source of traffic. What else? What other kind of goodies do you have for us today, Steve?
What else did I have? I think that was it. Did I have anything else?
Anything you can show us? You mentioned some stuff on your screen, how you compare, how to add. Can you just give us little tidbits of knowledge of little bits of how to do stuff that they'll see in your course?
Oh, okay. Well, from the course, I show you how to. One of the things is if you're doing black hat, you're going to want to have multiple ad accounts. A lot of people are running their own ad account through their personal. So in the course, I basically show you how to go to Business Manager, create your own Business Manager account, and then each individual ad account that you create in a kind of a redundant fashion. One of the things that happens is people will run a lot of affiliate stuff, and they'll use cloaking and things like that, and then they'll get shut down, and they have to use their cousin's name and all that kind of stuff in their profile. So you can actually just go into business.facebook.com, create a Business Manager account, and in that you can actually create ad accounts, individual ad accounts, and then each one of those tied to your the fan page, tied to the website, and so that way you're running redundant. So let's say you're doing HGH or legal supplements or something like that, you could run 3 or 4 ad accounts simultaneously, and then if one gets shut down, your ad still stays up. So things like that, how to protect your pixel. You run a pixel, leave it on a site, don't do anything with it, then advertise off of it. There's a lot of those kind of things that allow you to not get burned.
Would you say it's possible for people to run affiliate accounts without this kind of knowledge?
Well, not for very long. They're going to get shut down. And then what's going to happen? I mean, I have clients that do that. They run an account, they put it in their cousin's name, they get banned for life. I mean, I've had people had their personal account banned for life. They also get their credit card banned, so then they can't use their credit card. So if you're going to do affiliate marketing, which is, massively taking off right now with Facebook, just because it's so low-cost traffic, you're going to want to set it up in the right way, and that's just create your own Business Manager account, create sequential ad accounts, and then advertise on behalf of those, just to protect yourself in that kind of redundancy. Right.
How long is the course exactly?
So far, I have about 7 hours taped. So it's pretty comprehensive. So I have it broken up into I do over-the-shoulder stuff where I literally take a customer of mine, a client of mine who sent me an email that makes no sense. I show the email and I say, okay, I have to make an ad out of this. And I literally put the email up. I show you my ad manager. I bring you into it. I tell you I've never done this ad before. We go through it. And that's about 45 minutes. So I have about 3 or 4 of those in the course. And it's really going to be comprehensive. A lot of the courses out there are all about bros and Lambos and standing in front of your car and showing all the stuff. And they go, step 1, have an idea. Step 2, step 3, profit. And it's nobody shows you how to actually do it. So what I want to do is literally say, you click here, you put your thing here, and my goal is that somebody takes the course who knows nothing, and by the end of it, maybe a long weekend, they can run ads and make money. So that's kind of my my little tidbit. So that's why I'm giving away a 30-minute thing today. So if somebody in this little live chat right here will get it, I'll call you up. We'll talk on Skype, and I'll give you 30 minutes worth of knowledge for free. And then anybody watching this, I know a lot of times people come on here and give away stuff, and it's only for the live chat. So I'm going to do it. Anybody who watches it, I know a lot of people watch these afterwards. Email me again, steve@brightsourcemedia.com, and I'll give it away.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Steve. Somebody asked in the chat, what Facebook tools do you use, if any?
I use one of the ones that I have, and actually I can if you send me an email, I can drop it in. It's a tool, it's a niche finder that I have that works really well. One of the most powerful tools though really is Google. Figure out do your research. That's where people, they skimp. They just type in, interest, and it says dogs. And then they go, wow, I sent my ad to 78 million people, but nobody clicked on it. And it's, you really got to,
right.
Do the math. Like, or they'll have too small of an audience, right? If you're spending, I want to spend $100 a day. How big's your audience? 100,000 people. And it's like, wow, I mean, you should have 1 million people per $100, and then scale it up or things like that.
Right.
There's actually, other than Ad Manager, which I walk you through completely, there's no real secret sauce in terms of tools. Like, I know there's a ton on the SEO side, but for Facebook, it's really just grunt work. Right,
and knowledge, knowing the secrets.
Yeah. Just knowing how it works, knowing what not to do, and the fact they just want it to be a happy, smiley place.
Charlie asks, what kind of cost per click are you getting on traffic-based advertisements in the motor industry?
What is that, like cars?
Yeah.
I got out of the auto industry just because they're not very nice. But you can get like I was getting low teens for like new cars.
It's like 0.14.
Yeah, like 14 cents a click.
Yeah.
In the auto industry, what I would suggest, excuse me, is you should do a lead form ad, which is a type of ad that Facebook allows. And what the person does is you show them the ad in their feed, and then you literally get their information right there in Facebook. You don't send them to your lander at all. They just click the button. It says submit. You get your first name, last name, telephone number, all by Facebook. 3 clicks. You get that to your thing, and then you send that to the auto dealer CRM.
He asks, do you use any third-party demographic when building an audience? So is that the Google thing you mentioned?
The what thing?
So do you use any third-party demographic tools?
Yeah, you're going to want to use a lot of that. It's built in. Once you get your ad account up and running and you have some, like I actually just got a boatload of stuff from Oracle, but you have to apply for it and get it in there. But you get, it's 3,600 lines of detail. Like TransUnion detail, so it tells you which tier or TransUnion they're on, whether or not they're gonna, in the car industry, how likely they are to buy. But you definitely want to explore the interest groups and start typing it in and look for, like in this auto industry, look for behaviors, right? Not necessarily an interest, but a behavior which comes up and it says somebody who's likely to buy, and that'll show up. And the third party things are automatically integrated into that. But you can get there's some ways to get some more once you get up and running.
Cool. So do you show them how to do all that in the course?
Yeah. Yep. That's in the end of it. Yep. It's like I said, it's literally nothing to do with Lamborghinis, nothing to do with bookshelves. I mean, it is how to do it, so it's all about how to apply for it and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's not a sales pitch. It's Steve.
No, it's not. I mean, it's over the shoulder. It's, it's not fancy. It's just me.
It's just him and his Boston accent over there. Okay. So let's open it up. So Michael, I don't know if you have a microphone. Did you have an SEO question? Please do not show me your genitals. Sorry, that's a proviso I have to say on Hangouts like this. If you want to show them to me, email me separately. but please don't put it on air because then I'll have to edit the video and whatnot. Did you have an SEO question? Michael, did you have any question at all there? I see you typing in the, or do you have a microphone?
Oh, that's me typing.
He says, thanks, you guys are great. Well, thank you. We try to be great. If you have any SEO questions, let us know. Guys, I also gave the open invitation. If you came late, you can join the Hangout here. I'll put the URL in the chat again if you have any SEO questions, just so to break up the voices, so you can hear somebody else's voice asking questions if you want, or you can ask questions here in the chat, and that's what I'm going to go check to see here, what kind of questions we have in this chat here. Let me look. Okay. So Brady says something. It says, "Are you guys talking about this? SMX is a macro processing language designed to embed macros in web pages." Nope. SMX is the Search Media Expo conference. That's what I was talking about, Brady. The Search Media Expo conference. The SMX conference is held June in Seattle and March in San Jose, or somewhere in California, closer to actually closer to. Someplace in California. The name just fell out of my head. I believe it's around San Jose. So that's where they are. That's what we were talking about there. I thought I saw someone join and then they left. So okay, that was that. That happened. And then somebody asks, "Is there any way how to rank car insurance affiliate site? I'm actually on the 3rd page of Google in Slovakia." Yes, I guess this is the Slovenian pronunciation of Mitchell. Yes, of course, there's a way to rank a car insurance affiliate site. I'm guessing you're more asking how would you rank a car insurance affiliate site? Well, first off, if you want to target Slovenia, you have to make sure that Google knows you're in Slovenia. So you need to be in the language of the local area, 1. 2, you need to be using the terminology of the local area. 3, you need to have a Slovenia domain name if possible, and or at the very least 4, in Google Search Console, you need to make sure that Google knows that your content is associated with Slovenia. You need to do your keyword research to see what people in Slovenia actually search for. It might not be what people in the US search for. I mean, even like translated word for word. They could have strange colloquialisms and ways of speech and ways of thinking. For example, I was just talking with a client who's in India. Yes, people in India hire me, not always the other way around, because there's a lot of money in India too. And he told me that when he was doing his keyword research, just kind of based on what Americans search for, but when he actually took a deeper look into what people are actually typing in Punjabi in India, they're looking for Indian specific stuff, and they're typing in different words. I mean different like phrases and different ways of thinking. Like they don't just want to know about red apples. They want to buy red apples, price in India only. Like they'll search that. So he said, "How do I rank for that?" I said, "Well, you need to say the price in India only. Like your page needs to be about whatever they're searching for. So you need to have your page. It's about red apples." But you also need to say in there quite a bit that this is for India only, and this is the special Indian price. People in India get this price. You know, all those kind of terminologies, so that Google knows that that's even easier to rank for, because it's an even longer tail query, right? It's even more specific, so it's easier to make great content for something that's more specific. So the same applies for trying to rank a car insurance affiliate site in Slovakia. Keep in mind that Google does have a bias against affiliate sites. Much like Facebook, Google has a bias against affiliate sites too. Quite frankly, Facebook wants to keep all the money and quality to themselves, and Google wants to keep all the money to themselves and make sure the quality is good. And so they have no reason whatsoever, now that they have their walled gardens and they're 2 of the most richest companies in the world. They've surpassed oil companies now as being information companies, have now surpassed oil companies as the richest companies in the world. Amazon is going to be the richest amongst all of them. They're scheduled to hit $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Their company to be worth $1 trillion, I think, in next year, 2018. At least that's the stat that I saw. I don't know if it's true, and they may not hit it. But information companies like Google and Facebook and Apple and Amazon have now surpassed oil companies. That's the 20th century is done. Let me just step out of this conversation for a second. That is an amazing, mind-blowing statistic, don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, we just went from the radio to the TV.
Exactly, and even though we're still feeling the effects of our oil-based societies, the information societies are the new richest societies in the world. So you got to wonder about what kind of unethical things they're going to do, and what kind of
talking about unethical.
Sorry,
Amazon's horrible. A lot of my e-commerce clients, they'll say Amazon is like playing with fire. I mean, they develop. You can make a lot off of them, but they'll just cut you off. I don't like what you're doing. I mean, they're very tough.
And that's kind of the way it works. The old golden rule: the people with the gold get to make the rules. right?
Mhm.
And that's the way it is. So it just so happens somebody made a documentary about some of the unethical things that Google is doing. I don't know. He could be this guy right here. Hello, secret camera. Anyway, so
Check it
sorry,
out.
I had that in there. Sorry. No, it's me. I made the documentary, not you, Michael Cera, as much as I love Michael Cera. So how do you rank car insurance affiliate sites? So you got to remember, you can't just copy the affiliate feed from the main affiliate. You have to add value. You have to have something special. You have to directly answer the question that the person is looking for, that they want. You have to be the best possible site to answer that search query to force Google to rank you there. And then there's all kind of technical SEO things you need to do. There's all kind of off-site SEO things you need to do. There's all kind of social networking stuff you need to do. And you could even consider looking into Facebook ads as well on Facebook, because it also not only does it give you traffic, it complements your SEO as well. Facebook traffic, even from ads, highly correlates with SEO rankings. This is something that I want to test. This correlation, do a single variable test of. So it's really, I mean, how would you do that? Well, I could consult with you for hours on how to do that. That's my 5 minutes how I do it on the show. Now let's see. Michael did ask some questions actually here in the chat. He says, sorry, I have one question. Okay, apology accepted, and I will answer it if possible. He says, how important is a domain age for ranking? Like I could rank on page 1 with a 3-month-old domain, or does it take a year and you kind of left handing on page 2? Hope this makes sense. Yes. So as it turns out, domain age does not correlate with high rankings at all. My 5 levels of SEO evidence say it's not a factor. 1, the test we did showed it wasn't a factor. 2, it doesn't correlate with high rankings. 3, Google says it's not important. 4, my own experiments show me it's not important. 4, Google says it's not important. 5, other SEOs say it is or is not important because they have no idea what they're talking about. So this is all you got to go on. If that's what you think is important, that's all you got to go on. So my point is that I have a huge body of evidence here showing that domain age is not important. But time in the index, the time that the amount of time that the website has been in Google's index does correlate very strongly with rankings. Now that could just be cause correlation fallacy. It doesn't mean it's causal, but it does correlate strongly with higher rankings having a site that's been in the index for a long time. So what does that mean? That means that if you're buying a site that's currently ranking well, that's a good thing. If you're trying to buy a site that used to rank well but hasn't been in Google's index for years, that's a worse thing. That means that site is actually less valuable to you. It doesn't matter if the domain has been registered with a domain name registrar since 1997. Google doesn't care about that anymore. Maybe they used to back in the day. They don't anymore because people were buying domains and trying to trick Google. And Google always learns the factors we're trying to use, and that's why we always have to update them. And that's why I stick more on the white hat side, because I'm lazy. I don't have the energy that Holly or Mike or Clint or any of these great black hats we've had on the show before. I don't have their energy, right? I consult for clients. We set it and forget it, hopefully. And I don't have the manpower or the time to be changing my HTML every day because I was trying some new trick and Google caught it. So now I got to catch up. Holly makes lots of money doing black hat, and then Google literally comes and wipes her out for months, and then she makes a lot more money doing it. Right? So it's this coyote and it's this what is the coyote and the roadrunner? That's the one?
He never catches them except for the last episode.
Right. So I don't like playing that game, so that's why I'm white hat. But it's totally up to you. Like if you have a team who's working there every day and you're really good at it, but you can't really do quality, but you can bang out a lot of pages, maybe that's more your thing, how you would want to go.
Or you want instant. Black hat works pretty good for, well, preface that. In SEO world, instant is 8 months. But I mean, in compared to white hat, it's faster, isn't it?
For SEO?
Yeah, PBO.
It can be. That's not how it works. It's the time it's going to take you to rank. You have to have this comparable signals to your competitors. So that's what you need to have. Now, Black Hat can sometimes more quickly get you comparable signals, but not always, right? If I'm doing SEO for a company that's built an artificial intelligence that can solve climate change models, I don't have to do anything Black Hat. All I have to do is call a newspaper up and say, hey, we can do this. And I'm going to have 1,000 links from all the major newspapers in the world, and I'll have that tomorrow. So it all depends on. You can't just say that black hat is faster than white hat.
Well, okay. So when white hat works really well if you're an established company with a great presence and all. But if you're trying to do affiliate marketing, or you're trying to like promote stuff on the side, you're trying to sell shoes. Is not really, you can't call up the paper and say I sell shoes. They're gonna go, they're gonna laugh at you. So that's when probably the black hat probably comes in too.
Good for you. Like, how'd you get my number? No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's kind of the corptocracy we live in, right? The big companies have more money, so they can do more research. They can get better products. The small companies, the mom and pops, they have a harder time, and they're just a mom and pop. They just do whatever. I'll use the Seinfeld example. I'll use your shoe example and Seinfeld. The mom and pop, literally, all they do is detail shoes. They clean shoes. They're cobblers. They fix shoes and clean shoes. Is there anything special about this mom and pop? Nope. Nothing special about them at all, other than they've been in business for 30 years. So, quite frankly, Google made the decision a couple of years ago that, fine, they're not going to rank the flashy, new, hip cobbler who's on Facebook talking a lot. He's the one we're going to rank because he has signals we can trust. We have no idea how good the mom and pop is from 30 years ago because they have no digital footprint whatsoever, right? We can't tell anything about them.
Are there even still cobblers out there?
I don't know. I have no idea. Probably somewhere in bigger cities.
If there's a cobbler watching, I will give you free Facebook ads.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. If you are a cobbler, you will get free Facebook ads from Steve Fantasia. I just might start a cobbling business just for that reason. Because, woo, free marketing. My business will succeed for sure. All right. Michael also asks, how likely do you think AMP will become a ranking factor in the future based on your experience with Google and their products? Well, coming out of SMX Advanced, which is going on now, Michael, I don't think it's going to be directly a ranking factor. I think Google's come under enough heat that they're not going to make the Donald Trump mistake of making it very obvious that they're corrupt. For any Trump supporters, please forgive me. But the evidence doesn't look great when he tries to fire the guy investigating, if you know what I mean. So I don't think Google's going to make that mistake and give AMP an obvious ranking boost because AMP is contained on their servers, right? It's their product. But I think it might have an indirect ranking boost, and that's what people at SMX are saying. It's having an indirect ranking boost because it's so easy to use and it's so fast. So that might be the way in which it might get a ranking boost. Okay, now let's go back to the chat here and see if there's any more questions I can answer for you fine folks. Fire them at me. We're in the lightning round. Steve and I will answer all your questions here.
Let's do it.
The next question is, okay, so Andrew asks a good one. Does the disavow file actually work now based on your latest study? Andrew, that's a great question. Let me give you the short answer, I don't know. Let me give you the longer answer, which is a slightly better than I don't know. So, as you might recall, a few years ago, there was this little thing called Disavow Gate, in which I blew up the interwebs accidentally when I went to Moz and I made a video, which they completely approved, by the way. You don't get to do a Whiteboard Friday that they don't vet first, right? I did 2 Whiteboard Fridays for them, one on Panda, whichever one left. The other one, which on the disavow file, in which I argued there is no direct evidence that the disavow file actually works. There's only anecdotal evidence of people disavowing like 4 months ago and suddenly doing 20 other things, and then the rankings go up and they say, oh, it was the disavow that did it. And the only reason why at the time is because, quite frankly, in my opinion, some of my cohorts, the white hat SEOs were, I know, it's tragic to say, they were bilking clients and selling them snake oil because they didn't know what else to do for them. And so it took them 5 minutes to run a link report, throw those links in an Excel file, in a text file, upload them to Google and disavow it and cross your fingers and charge $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 for that. So I found that unethical personally, and I knew that a bunch of them were on Moz. And so I went there and I kicked the hornet's nest a bit. And I said, if you guys can prove the disavow file works, good for you. Otherwise, you're selling snake oil. and they had a bit of a freak out. And I'm not allowed on the Moz server anymore. I'm not allowed anywhere near the Moz buildings. All the Cyrus Shepard, he doesn't even work for Moz anymore, but he still hates my guts. Dr. Pete hates my guts. Rand Fishkin, I don't think he's answered. I used to talk with him on email, and I would go to Seattle and have coffee with him. I don't think he's talked to me since then. So I pretty much burned that bridge entirely. All for you guys. All for you guys. And because of my giant ego. That's the two things, you guys and my ego, which is really kind of how it works. After that, though, a lot of experiments came out, and people have come to me, my own viewers have come to me and said, Josh, look, I had a site that was not ranking. I disavowed it. It started ranking. I removed the disavow. It stops ranking. I put the disavow back. It starts ranking again. It really looks like the disavow file is doing something. And I said, okay, well, that's great evidence now. And that was years after this, right? So I'm like, well, now we got to check. So what we're doing now is Clint, who the Black Hat who's been on the show many times, he recently, and if any of my listeners who've listened to me recently will know this, he recently sent not 1,000, not 2,000, he sent 100,000 GSA links, 100,000 GSA links, you know, a small amount of links, to a test page I have. And the results are fascinating. The first thing he did is he ranked it on page 1, spot number 1. Then it tanked for most people, but not everyone. Like different data centers had it at spot 1 or 2. Different data centers had it removed entirely, right? I see somebody trying to join here. Kaiser Soze, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to mute you for a second until you can ask your question, okay? Okay. So thanks very much, Mr. Shakur. I'll get you in a second. And then so that the page was bouncing around, and the site, all the pages started bouncing around, even though I had no other experiments going on. And now it's back on spot 1 and ranking fine. So I don't know what we proved in that experiment, that GSA is a negative SEO tool for a week and then we'll rank you. That's what it looks like we've proved. So maybe Google has ignored all those links and have gotten rid of them, but now we're ranking, the page was spot number 4 and now it's spot number 1. So I'm going to release all this data. I have all this data. I'm going to publicly release it. You're going to see the charts. You're going to see the timeline of everything we did. But right now the experiment's still going on, and I don't even have a negative SEO site to disavow on to try it in a single variable test environment. That's the key. I need to do this in a single variable test environment where there's no traffic, there's no searches, there's no other links, there's nothing else going on. If you want to help me with these experiments, I'd be more than happy to take on more apprentices. I take on apprentices every now and then. If you want to be one of my SEO apprentices, by all means, email me and maybe we can work it out. You can join my apprentice program. But I need people to make fake sites for me with gibberish like blah, blah, blah text and gibberish pages that have no traffic on them that we can do these tests on. And I need help doing that because I'm just so darn busy right now. So to answer your question, does the disavow file actually work now based on my latest study? I'm not sure at all. Whether or not, I haven't even gotten to the point where I can test it yet. But that hopefully will be something that we will be able to do very, very shortly and very, very soon. Okay, Kaiser, so do you want to ask your question now? Do you have you can unmute yourself if you have a microphone. By all means, please ask your question if you like.
Actually, there is one client from Germany. Okay, I do not know the German. So how I can do a keyword research in German and do a competitor analysis, because I am using the ARF and Moz, but they are giving the competitor analysis like PADA. But how I can do the keyword research in German?
That's a very good question. And I love that you asked it because you sound to me like you're in India. I could be wrong.
I am Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan.
Okay. My apologies. My apologies. Sometimes it's hard for my Western ears to tell the difference between the two.
No problem. Thank you.
But yeah. So how, unless you speak German, how are you going to do keyword research in German, right?
Yes.
I have no good answer for that. I have no good answer for that. I can fake it. I can kind of put stuff in Google Translate and kind of figure out what they're talking about, and then do the keyword research and send it to the client and say, the German speaking client, and say, hey, does this make sense? Is this right? Tell me the right stuff. So I would still use keyword. I would still use Google AdWords Keyword Planner. But quite frankly,
But that,
unless
Josh,
you
like,
speak that language. Sorry, Steve?
if you were going to, like English, if you were going to search 2x4, right? Now that's a popular thing for Home Depot, but I mean, somebody over in, Spain isn't going to know the phrase 2x4. So that's going to be, you probably have to get, I would get a virtual, can you get a virtual assistant translator to work a little bit and do some things? I know I do business in Germany and I get things translated. And just pay, and have
There you go. That's a great idea. Go on to Upwork and maybe get a short-term virtual assistant.
Yep.
I need someone who's fluent in German.
Yeah.
And I need to do some keyword research and show them how to use Google AdWords Keyword Planner. And maybe on Skype, you two can work it out and see what the actual. That's a good. Thank you, Steve. That's a great idea. That's probably the way to do it.
Thank you. I will approach that.
All right, fantastic. If you have any other questions, let us know. I'm gonna go here. So Charlie already asked that question. Oh no, my chat changed entirely now. Now I can't even see where I was looking here. Here we go. So Brady asks a question for Steve.
Yes.
What would be better to advertise on Facebook? A page or a website link? What do you want to be advertising on there?
Yeah, wherever you want the traffic to go to convert. If you're doing, e-commerce or something, or you're trying to do a lander, I mean, I guess it would depend on what you're trying to do. Because you got to look at what Facebook, the person is on Facebook. They're looking at their lasagna and their kids at their kids at T-ball, and then you show them an ad. You want them to click on it and buy, right? Shop now, use your call to action, watch the video. So wherever you put them, make sure it works. Don't send them to your home page just so that they can look at everything. That's a lot of people will do that, and that's why they'll get a huge bounce rate. You'll see a bounce rate of 70%, 80, 90% off of social traffic, because where they're sending them is not anything relevant. So I would do literally, like if you're like insurance, right? You should send them to a landing page where they say enter your zip right now, a zip form, and enter it in, and then boom, they're done, and they can bounce right back to Facebook. That's
a really good point, and that applies for all digital marketing, right? There's something in the industry called click bleed. The more times you make them click, the more, just statistically, the more people will drop off and just not do it. And so you want the fewest clicks to conversion as possible. This is the exact same principle in SEO. You want them to go to, preferably, they do a search for the best red apples 2017. They get your best red apples page. They click buy. They're done. Like like 2 clicks if possible. Like as few clicks as possible. What you don't want to do in SEO is this. They do a search. They go to your index page. They can't find what they're looking for. They click on a category page. They can't find what they're looking for. They find a product page. They go back to the category page. They do a search. They click on this. It's not what they want. They leave. That's the absolute worst thing to do, right?
Yeah, I've seen what works is really long landing pages, right? People don't, excuse me, people don't mind scrolling. They don't like clicking, right? I think clicking is a little bit more muscles than the click.
Yes.
But just scroll, and then have like buy now, buy now, buy now. Have it 6 or 7 times on the page.
That's another good point. I hate the long sales page. I find it egregious. I find it ugly. I find it an insult, just an obvious base advertisement. But it works. It works, right? The long sales page works because things stand out. You just scroll and they come to you and they just you're building value and building value and building value until finally that button comes along. Then you give them an incentive for you, 20% off, for the last, 5 seconds, it's coming down, and then they'll do it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't like it personally, but it does work. And the long sales page still statistically works as a conversion because Steve, you nailed it on the head again, that clicking a page is a new thing. You're going to a new page. It's another investment. Scrolling, you're still on the current investment, right? You've invested into this page and you're still looking for what you want. Clicking is you have to make a new investment. It's like a new relationship, a new contract between you and the page that will it give me what I want? But scrolling is just fine tuning the current relationship and maybe, working things out.
And I think you also, just jump in, people have to put more emphasis on the sales funnel. Like, where are you? Is this the first time they ever saw your ad? Well, then are they going to buy immediately? Probably not, unless it's like some really cool iPhone cover that I just immediately buy because I'm a sucker.
Right.
But most of the time, you're going to want to, put them in the sales funnel, figure out where they are, think about retargeting next time, think about all those kind of things in the sales funnel, as opposed to, yeah, I think a lot of people think you should click and buy, and not many things, unless you're buying a Snickers, are you clicking and buying.
Right, unless you're already at the laser edge of the sales funnel and they've already been pre-sold. They already know what it's about. They found the best one. They found yours. They found a best list. They found yours, and now they want to buy it, right? They're already at the end of the sales funnel. Now, that's a great place to be, because you get high conversion rates. I have sites at the end of the sales funnel that get like 60, 70% conversion rates. Yeah. But they've already, someone already did the selling for me, right? Another place you can be is at the very top end of the sales funnel where they're learning, what are red apples? They find your page about what are red apples, and it's a very comprehensive page about telling me why you want to buy red apples, what the best red apples are. Here are some good prices. Here's a discount. You're taking them down. The long sales page is like the long sales funnel. You're taking them down the sales funnel until they get to the end of the sales funnel. I mentioned this. You're so right, Steve. I could not agree more for marketing in general and for business in general and for Facebook and for SEO, for everything. Where do you want to position yourself in the sales funnel? Because that will totally change your entire marketing strategy. If you want to be everywhere in the sales funnel, that's another way to do it too. But there's pros and cons. There's a SWOT analysis. There's strengths, weaknesses. There's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, no matter where you want to be in that sales funnel. And so that's a very good point. I couldn't reinforce that more. The last question we're going to deal with today is a very easy one. Brady asks, how do I beat other SEO companies? Best tips. Well, that's actually a really tough question to answer. There's all kinds of ways to do it. I've been doing SEO on and off since around 1997. And the same time, I was a director of a major department at a Canadian university. I was a vice president. I was a web developer for an award-winning ad agency. I was a vice president at a software company. I did my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and did half my PhD. And then I finally realized that I didn't want to be in the Canadian academic scene because it was more meetings than teaching. And so I decided to come back to SEO in around 2010. And I built up a 6-figure consultancy in 2 years. How I decided I was going to compete in the SEO sphere was that I Google SEO in all my areas, and I could see that my competitors all had 100,000 links from Russian farms or from blogs. And unless I was going to dump tens of thousands of dollars into infrastructure like that, there was no way to compete with them. So I started making videos on YouTube. I looked on YouTube and I noticed that nobody was there. And so I did content marketing. I did content marketing, but on the video side, not on the textual side, right? And within a few years, I have 12,000 subscribers now. All of my leads essentially come from YouTube and or from Facebook or from Twitter, from my social channels, and or word of mouth from those areas. So it's that question is not an SEO question. That question is a business question. It's the question that Steve and I were just talking about. Where do you want to put yourself in the sales funnel? If everybody is competing up here in the sales funnel, you don't want to be there. You want to try and position yourself lower in the sales funnel, if at all possible. So you want to so Facebook ads might be a great way to do it. Not a lot of people are advertising on Facebook, right? And so, Steve, maybe you can jump in here after a second, but if I was going to restart my SEO consultancy, YouTube is now saturated. I'm here. Chase is here. Backlinko is here. All those guys, Alex Becker, they're all here. They've all got videos with huge counts, although most of theirs are inflated. None of my accounts on YouTube are inflated, by the way. If you look at just some shameless bragging, because, again, the ego I mentioned. Link Moses, his name is Eric. Steve is nodding. Yeah, ego.
It is your show.
Well, it's my show. That's right. If you don't like it, you can have your own show. Eric Ward, who's been doing SEO for as long as I have, but that's all he did. So professionally for 20 years. His name is Link Moses. You may have heard of him. If you haven't, then you need to learn about who Eric Ward is. He does hangouts like this. And by the way, he gets the same numbers I do. I have around 40 people watching right now. The top end was around 50 people watching. Mostly I have usually 60 people watching. By the way, that's what 12,000 subscribers will get you, about 60 people watching, but I don't advertise it a very lot, but that's an interesting stat in and of itself. but I get around 2,000, 3,000 views over the course of weeks and months afterwards, right? That's the same numbers that Eric Ward gets. He doesn't get any better than I do, by the way. And that's almost the same numbers that John Mueller gets on his Google Webmaster Hangouts. So that's just some anecdotal stats for how well you can do and how hard you have to work at it. But you know that this is my I'm telling you, this is my full marketing channel for the most part. And I get all my business from this and from leads, from word of mouth, from doing it for so long. And I'm able to make 6 figures a year doing it. So that'll tell you, but my point is that YouTube is saturated. It would be hard to compete here now. There was nobody here when I started, and Google Hangouts had just started. So I started doing Google Hangouts. So Facebook might be a great way to, if you're going to do it now, Brady, to get back to your question, Facebook might be a great way to try doing it now because Steve, you and I were talking the other day. There's not a lot of people advertising on Facebook, more or less, right now. Is that correct?
No, there's 50 million Facebook pages for businesses. There's only 3 million active advertisers, so there's not very many people. If you had an unlimited budget, probably the most direct way might be AdWords, but AdWords are very, very expensive. Nobody's advocating AdWords don't work. They're just extremely expensive. So an alternative to that would be you could put an ad on Facebook for your SEO service, local SEO services, and target business owners, target people like do fan page admins. Who's an admin of a fan page, a business fan page? Most likely the owner. Something to do with maybe the social or the technical. So you could target people who just are fan page admins, and that's an easy way to get in front of people who are decision makers for on the cheap compared to like you had said, AdWords, Google SEO. I mean, if you're an SEO guy, you probably can rank your site, I would assume, but
yeah, or at least you know that it's so expensive it's not worth doing, right?
Yeah.
I was for years, I'm not sure if I still am, but if you type in SEO into YouTube, my face comes up there, at least it did. I haven't checked recently. Like I said, YouTube is getting fairly saturated now, but I don't really care because I've got so much business that I don't know what to do with it all, so I don't really care if I'm the first page there. But another part of your question is how to beat other SEO companies. Marketing, of course, is one integral, important component, but it's not the only component. You have to have a cat that meows its head off like that. Can you guys hear the cat?
Yeah. I didn't know whose that was.
He hasn't been fed yet. That's what I have to deal with all day. But you have to be better. You have to be actually better than your competitors. You have to know SEO inside and out. You have to have the 5 levels of evidence. You have to know what you're talking about when it comes to this stuff. Otherwise, things are not just going to work out. You can market to your blue in the face. If you don't have a quality product, you're not going to impress customers, sell customers, retain customers, or get word of mouth business from them. So Brady, this is going to be he says afterwards it might be a bad question. So Brady, I hope you don't get insulted by my saying this, but quite frankly, you should be able to answer that question yourself. If you can't answer the question, how do I beat other SEO companies? Maybe SEO is not for you. I know that's really rude. I'm sorry.
It meant I'm really good. I just need to get in front of the right people.
Right, of course. I'm sure Brady is fantastic, but he's just maybe not sure which way to go. So I know, totally. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I try to say this as delicately and as Canadianly as possible, as politely as possible. But if you're not a self-starter, if you can't answer that question yourself, SEO is not the business for you because there are no guidelines. It is the wild, wild west. And not only are there no guidelines, SEO is trying to muddy up the guidelines. So you can't tell what the rules are. Mm-hmm. So if you can't compete with what I'm saying on this show and be like, yeah, I think I know as much as Judge Josh does, maybe you shouldn't be doing this, unless you've got a really easy business to SEO. Like that's different. In-house SEO is different because you've got one customer to worry about your own, and you can get really good at that. But again, don't take that the wrong way. But I get 5 emails a day of people. I want to be an SEO. I want to make money online. I want to work from home. And I'm like, hey, brother, sister, great. More power to you. I fully endorse that. But quite frankly, if you have to ask me how to do it, then you don't have the skill set required. The get up and go, the work for 10 hours straight for no money just to figure stuff out because you're curious. It's not for you. Maybe here's a question for Steve. Do you find that Facebook ads getting to be a master of that, do you find it's as entrepreneurial as SEO is, or do you think there's more structure and maybe it's a little bit easier for people to maybe master that art as opposed to mastering SEO?
It's definitely, if you just take it as face value, you're going to spend a lot of money. So there's a lot to it. And with that, I'm just going to plug real quick. I'm giving away the free thing. The email stopped. So anybody watching now, I'm giving away a free 30-minute at the end of this course. I mean, a call, 30-minute consult. So send me an email at steve@brightsourcemedia.com.
But the call's going to end in 3 minutes. So,
so 3 minutes. Hurry up and do it. Josh is going to pick the winner. But it's all. But I mean, if you're competing against me, I mean, there's things like auto bidding. I'm going to manually bid. You're going to auto bid, and so you're going to let Facebook bid for you, and I'm going to go in there and know that your lead cost is you're making $18 on each one. I can bid $14 a click, and you're bidding $3. So there's a lot to it. I think it's similar, parallel to SEO. There's a lot of on the servers. You can do it immediately. You can run in and build your ads, but if you start digging into it, like with you, and I start going canonicals and all that stuff, you got to know what all those things are. You got to do the work. Put the work in. Watch the videos.
No, undoubtedly, it's as much an art and science, and you have to do as much of the work. It'll take 3 years of 10 hours a day just researching to really get in a position where you can do this. But would you say there's less competition in Facebook?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's nobody out here. Everybody's talking likes and smileys and huggies and stuff. There's very few people who are doing anything, but there's a lot of people pushing e-commerce. That's getting a little tough right now because everybody's starting to jump into it. So, but any like affiliate, it violates Facebook's ad terms. So the bigwigs and all those people don't want to do it. So there's a lot out there for that. Big wild west for anything to do with affiliate and things like that. But the e-commerce is getting a little crowded.
So if only some Facebook ad guru had some kind of, I don't know, course you could take.
Whoa, that's funny.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's funny.
How'd you like that segue? Shoot, that was in there, just boom.
That was wow. You got me on that one. That was pretty good. Yep.
You didn't even plug the course. So if there's a course you could take, maybe at the very least you could decide if instead of SEO, maybe Facebook ads would be the way for you.
There's a lot. You could easily make way more than mid six figures doing Facebook ads if you're good at it. Pretty quick too. The ramp up's really quick on it. I mean, it doesn't take much. You just have to be good at it.
Right. To command the high salaries of Steve Fantasia.
Low cost.
All right.
Hey, real quick, Josh, pick a number between 1 and like 20.
All right, 1 and 20. I'm gonna go to Google, and I'm gonna Google random number between 1 and 20. Generate.
What is it?
It's 12. Number 12 is the random number between 1 and 20.
Jason Quinlan. Jason Quinlan, I'm going to reply to you right now. You are the winner.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun,
All right.
dun.
Shoot me your Skype stuff, and we'll do it after. Probably not today, but I'm in Eastern. And then anybody watching this, send me an email up until the 16th, and I'll do another drawing.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Steve. Kaiser had one more question. What is it there, Kaiser? Are you still there? You have 5 seconds to ask it. Then I'm closing this thing down.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
What's your question?
Steve told us that we have a Facebook best combination with e-commerce. So does he have any case study about that? Like how much he got the traffic on this website, and after the A/B testing, he got this conversion rate after that case study. Does he have any case study about the Facebook and e-commerce combination? Affiliate marketing.
Yes.
I'm asking about affiliate marketing.
Steve, do you have any case studies or any evidence about how to improve conversion rate in e-commerce for Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, I could pull up some stuff. It's more of a what niche you're in and how good your lander is and where your sales funnel is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll tell you a timeline. It takes the first 30 days, unless you have 100,000 people a month on your site, you're going to be building your audience. You're basically buying your audience to retarget to. So it takes, the ramp up of it is about probably 60 days to start getting some serious ROI, and then you're going to A/B test individual things to figure out where those people are coming from, and then you chase the low-cost clicks, and then you optimize, you get your pixel going, optimize for purchases, and then you start doing it that way. So it's kind of high. There's no like, I'm not trying to dodge it. There's just really no like, hey, look at this. I mean, everybody's a little different.
Yeah, it's a general question, but the answer is yes. He does have some case studies, and he can help you out in the course.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks very much, guys. I'm going to shut this hangout down. This has been White Hat versus Black Hat SEO and Facebook show. I am Josh Bachynski. This was Steve Fantasia. If you have any SEO questions at all, by all means, email me any of the questions we couldn't get to into the chat. Oh, there's Holly. I didn't notice her in the chat. Oh, I should mention before I go, I have something to plug. Me too. I got important stuff going on, not just everyone else who comes onto my show. Holly and I are having a White Hat versus Black Hat SEO conference, and maybe a Facebook conference if I can cajole Steve to come up and present too. He hasn't said yes yet because he lives on the opposite side of the continent. It's the longest possible flight, and if you're still over land. So maybe Steve, maybe I can crowbar Steve into coming. But right now it's the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO conference. It's August 28th to 29th in Victoria, BC. 2017, this year, so just a couple months away, August 28th to 29th in Victoria, BC. It's the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO conference. My designer is working on the webpage right as I speak, so I will have prices for you, and I will have the actual hotel where we're having it at. It's a very nice hotel right in downtown Victoria, BC, the beautiful scenic Victoria, BC, and you will get to see me in person. And I will drive you around town, and we'll go see stuff. And I may be a little busy to drive everyone around town, but I'll be there, and we can party, and it'll be fantastic. And Holly's bringing in her big black hats and herself. I'm bringing in some big white hats coming in, guys that already presented these conferences, and some guys you don't even know. So we got black hats you've never heard of who are fantastic, and white hats you've probably never heard of who are fantastic as well, because Holly and I both have some connections. And we're bringing these guys in and gals in, and we're going to have a huge, giant party and talk about stuff. The mastermind group and the networking are going to be off the charts. It's going to be insane. If you can make it here, I would certainly suggest it. So keep watching my Twitter, keep watching my YouTube for more information about this. We'll be sending the mails out shortly. So with that, that's my final plug. Steve, do you have any final words for today?
Oh, I am giving away a free tidbit video. I think it's in the description, right? Yeah, click that link, and I do a free video on how to combine audiences. Just for special Josh Bachynski webinar people. Bachynski?
Close enough. Here you go. Let's see. This is kind of like a comedy skit. Now I'll come up with a new promo, a new thing to plug. And also, I'm giving free haircuts. I'll show you how to get your hair like this.
Ticonderoga, #2 pencils, low price.
Oh, you can tell the marketers make the show. Okay, thank you. I'm cutting the show off now. This is getting ridiculous. Thank you very much. This has been White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. Catch us next week when we will tell you all the SEO secrets in the first 5 seconds. If you're not there, too bad you missed it. Thanks a lot, guys. And as I always say, good luck in the SERPs. And if you have any SEO questions, email me.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaiser. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And you can email Steve at steve@brightsourcemedia.com. Thanks very much, and thanks for watching.